Hi everybody and welcome to propertygenie.co.nz. Today we have with us Miles from MethSolutions. We are here at the National Conference of the New Zealand Property Investors Federation, and we discovered and met Miles and the team here from MethSolutions with the revolutionary service which every investor should be considering and using prior to purchasing a property. Tell us about your product, mate.
What we basically look to do is provide people with certainty as far as the meth history of a property is concerned. We've got a collaborative model that's about answering that first fundamental question that people want to know when they go to buy a house: is there any meth in the property? So we've got a high quality, low cost testing service that we deliver pretty much nationwide, not every small town but most of them, and then we support that with, if necessary, detailed testing, clean-up services. And then ultimately, if people have got a clean investment, if they want to make sure that when they come to sell it, they deliver or get a strong return on investment, it's about managing it differently so you keep the dodgy people away.
Yes, it's well known that in New Zealand there are some meth users, and many landlords experience the experience of having their property contaminated, and once the property is contaminated, it's not just unhealthy and dangerous. In some situation, the property could be totally write off and need to be decontaminated, which costs a lot of money as well.
Can do.
So investing this money in advance, what is the cost of your service?
So in most instances, for a 3-bedroom property, it's $99 plus GST. In the context of due diligence, I know it's another cost that's on there, but if you go and buy a car, you'll spend more than $100 getting it checked out by the AA. So it's very small in the overall scheme of things, and regardless of the result, you should get a return on that investment.
100%. In terms of the process, so you go in, and how do you carry the check? What is the devices?
So in the first instances, this is just about surface-based testing. Probably a lot of your guys will know about the kits that you can get online. We looked at using those. There's a whole bunch of reasons why we don't go down that route. What we actually do is provide training to people who will go into a property, physically take samples using methanol soak swabs, and then they go off to one of the country's top environmental testing labs for analysis. So what you're getting is, like I say, a really high quality result, but for a very, very low price.
Right. And once you receive the result, if they come negative, then that's great. If they come positive, I did see you here, although we are here in the conference and it was the weekend, you did call and did some phone calls to landlords and property owners who received positive results.
Yes.
So run us through the process of that, because that was very impressive when I heard you talking to this particular owner.
Well, look, I mean, thanks for that feedback, Hadar. I guess what we recognise is that when it comes to the impact that a positive meth test has, yep, there's financial implications, but first and foremost, it's a really emotional time. There's a significant impact that it has on people. People feel completely taken advantage of. They're worried about what the situation might be. And our model is essentially focused on decent people, working with decent people to help either people through the problem, but ideally to avoid it. So whether it's a positive or a negative test, we give people a quick ring. Obviously the ones where it's a positive test, we tend to spend a bit longer on the telephone. And we just let people know, talk them through what the next steps are. Essentially, if a result comes back with meth present in the sample, which is the first and foremost thing that we offer, it's either yes or no. If it's present, we would always recommend that detailed testing gets done, because what we can't give you is where it is in a property, how much is in a particular area. We can give you a total amount though, and what that means is that you're either going to get a green light, there's no meth in there, okay? So if your investors are going to renovate a property and they've got a test that's green, there's no meth in there before they actually renovate, when they come to sell it, again, they can use that as part of the marketing, very positive, and you should get a return on that $100 you spent. There's a red light, which is lots of meth, so we get a total amount back from the lab. And in most instances, I think most investors will just say, look, no, thanks very much, and move on. The bit in the middle is the interesting one. It's the orange light where, again, there's meth there. There might not be a lot of meth there, but if renovation work has been done, for example, and we've worked with a number of investors who have spent thousands doing the thing up, and then the new purchaser has had a test done and there's meth present. That creates massive uncertainty. What's behind the paint? You know, what was there before this renovation work was done? So that's a situation truly to be avoided. But if you are looking to buy, it's a negotiation point that you have. So again, you will get a better price for that property because of the uncertainty that's associated with it. Under the Real Estate Agents Act, real estate agents are required to notify people about what they know, so other interested parties. So again, having that information means that you're not going to be disadvantaged, because we don't want to see real estate agents being caught out because of a hidden issue.
Definitely. So that's definitely a good step to take, not just for investors but also for home buyers. Anybody can use the service, and anybody should use the service to safeguard themselves. It's an affordable price. And just to cover, you mentioned that in some cases you need to go into a full check.
Yes.
Do you carry this check? Your company carry this check?
So we, MethSolutions, don't. What we've got is specialist companies who can come in and do that for people. Now, if you need detailed testing done in a property, it's around $1,000 to $1,500 in most instances. Now, that's a pretty significant sum of money.
Yes.
That people aren't going to spend up front for what they perceive as being a low risk. And then for 60% of the people that we work with, they don't need to spend that sort of money. But there's 40% of the properties that we test come back with meth present in the samples. Okay?
Yes.
Which is, you know, a really significant amount of properties. More than half of those end up having to have decontamination work on. The average cost of the decontamination that we've been doing is around $9,500. So it's a pretty significant sum. The unknown factor is the loss of value. You know, when you come to resell, you've got to declare that history, so that creates again uncertainty as far as the pricing is concerned. I think significantly for people out there who think, look, it's not that much of an issue, the stats suggest that for every lab the cops find, there's sort of 10 or 20 others that have been operating. So there's 2,000 labs that the police have found, more or less, in the last 15 years. So multiply that by 10 or 20. Then take into account the fact that labs move around, so how many properties have had a lab in them, who the heck knows. And use will contaminate a property as well. So what we've got is a big underlying issue within the property stock that's out there. And I think from the perspective of the people that you work with, Hada, yeah, my message is don't be the person who buys the risk and liability. You know, $100 is all it costs in most instances to essentially avoid that. Yes, and in most instances, like you said, around 60% you would not require to go with the more expensive check. Yep. So it's definitely a good option and a safe option to start with. Before we wrap it up, I just want to say that this service should be taken whether you buy a house in Ramuera or whether you buy a house in other parts of Auckland or any part of the country, which there is a lower socioeconomic area. Meth labs being proven to be found in the poshest suburbs around, or also in the lowest socioeconomic areas. So anybody should take this service. Thank you very much, Miles, for this interview. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.